Welcome to Andrea's Kitchen. Today we're going to be making a smoked meatloaf. I love meatloaf. I can make meatloaf 3-4 different ways. Today is going to be very similar to the way I've made it, except for a few ingredients are different. I'm not going to be using any fresh bell pepper or onion because it's going in my smoker. But boy, the smoke taste is wonderful. So we're going to get started. I have 2 pounds of 80/20. It's a little bit more lean. Normally I use 73 to about 73 when I'm doing it in my oven and so forth. But on the smoker, it's gonna drip and it's gonna be so smoky. So we're gonna get started. First thing I'm gonna do is put my seasoning in. I'm gonna do a teaspoon of garlic powder, and I just put it all the way around like this. I kind of spread my meatloaf to the sides so that it's a little bit more even when I'm distributing seasons. I'm going to use a whole tablespoon of lemon pepper. You guessed it, my go-to. This is like, oh, such good flavoring. It'll even make it salty. I just love lemon pepper. It has such a good flavor. I used most of it. I'm going to incorporate more of it as I mix it. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put all my teaspoon, I used a tablespoon of onion powder. And I'm going to put it all in there. So funny, I do not like the crunch of an onion, but I sure do love onion flavor. Now this is a tablespoon of my Grill Mates Hamburger Seasoning. I'm going to use most of it in here, and then I'm going to reserve a little bit for the top of the meatloaf after I'm done mixing. I want everything to be really well seasoned. I have 2 tablespoons of parsley. I am going to go ahead and incorporate everything right now. I want a big layer of parsley, and we are good to go. So I have those 2, and I'm just going to mix my my lemon pepper, the rest of my lemon pepper, and the rest of my Grill Mate. I'm just going to mix it together because it's going to go on the top. So anything that didn't get mixed, it'll get mixed. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put 2 cups of cheese totally in my meatloaf. But I'm going to do 1 now and put my eggs and my breadcrumbs, and then I'm going to reserve this cup for after I'm done mixing it, and then I'll go ahead and mix one more time. I don't want to over mix my meatloaf, but I will mix it twice. Not too much of a mixture. And here's my Italian breadcrumbs. It's 1/3 cup. And I'm going to go ahead and take 2 large eggs and break them in. And I'm going to get them mixed up. I'm going to get everything mixed up. Okay, so the reason I put the meatloaf like this is because now what I'm going to do is fold it all over so that I'm technically not mixing it yet. And then I'm going to get both hands in, or I'm going to try and use one hand since I'm going to put some more stuff in there so I'm not all dirty, messed up. So I'm just mixing it like this. I want all the eggs, so I'm going to fold it over too, because I want all the egg and I want the breadcrumbs and I want all the seasoning to incorporate into my 2 pounds of meat. We really like a lot of seasoning in my family. We like our food very flavorful. So like I said, I don't want to over mix, so I'm going to go ahead and dump my cheese in now. So all my cheese is in there. The reason I like 2 cups of cheese in this meatloaf is because the smoker is going to bring out the cheese, and it's going to make a bubble, and it gives it a little bit of a crust on the top if you have enough cheese. Not only that, it just binds everything real well. One more mix and pretty much we are done. That's why, just in case I didn't incorporate everything perfectly, I have a little bit of seasoning on the top. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to grab my tin foil, because I'm just going to lay it on my tin foil. Just going to make it a bed here for my meatloaf, because I just don't want the grease to drip in my smoker. I have a Traeger, and that's what I'm using. And I just do not want it to drip all over, even though my husband's really wonderful. he lines it for me and makes it all nice. And but I still don't want it all messy and goofy. So basically what I'm going to do is just fold this basically real close together like this, just so the grease doesn't drip. But I do not want to cover it. I will not cover this meatloaf. It'll be done. I don't think it won't take more than 2 hours for it to be done. Normally after 3.5 hours, I do cover my meat because it can make it bitter. But we have this, and it's a good dinner. It's a fast dinner. It's one of those dinners where you roll it up, make it real fast, and then you're good to go. I'm just mixing and putting the rest of my seasonings on top. Like I said, we like ours a little heavy, and I just put it around too, just so I have some seasonings. And you do not have to use it all. I'm learning, because I'm trying to be more precise, that sometimes I have a little too much seasoning. Use what you feel comfortable using. You know what your family likes and how they like it. So you just use it. I mean, the worst thing it'll do is make it a little salty. You're going to pair it with something. Just don't add any extra salt. That's why I don't add extra salt, because when I use things like this, it's really super salty. And there's something about lemon pepper. It makes things salty. So I believe I have enough. We are ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and take this out to the grill and get it on my grill. My tracker is at 250 right now. And so let's go. Okay, we're right here at my tracker. It's on. It's at 250. It'll take about 2 hours. I'll check it every 40 minutes and see how it's going. And we'll be back. Welcome back. Here's my gorgeous meatloaf. It took an hour and a half on my smoker, and it looks and smells delicious. I'm going to go ahead and cut into it. But oh, the cheese. Remember when I told you about the cheese? Look at the bubble pockets. Look at how nice and crispy crunchy this is. Look at it. It looks beautiful inside. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut it so you see. And I could have even went a little bit less, because this meatloaf, like I always say, see, it's done inside. It looks beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece out and show you. Got juices and cheese right there. It's nice and moist. It's not too done. This pink you see here is my smoke ring, so this is excellent. I'm going to take a bite and try it. Really flavorful. It's got a really good salt content to it. So like I said, if you want a little less salt, use a little less, I would say the Grill Mate hamburger seasoning, or the lemon pepper. Instead of a tablespoon, use a teaspoon your first time. You can always add flavor. For me and my family, this is perfect. Plus, I'm going to serve my meatloaf with some basmati white rice. So there's really no salt in my rice, so it's going to pair well. It won't be over salty. Not only that, I can use this meatloaf for sandwiches. What I'll do is cut it up and I'll store it, and then when we want a meatloaf sandwich, I'll go ahead and cut it, put it on my pan, get a nice crisp on it, and make a great sandwich. But enjoy the smoked meatloaf. You're going to love it. Inexpensive dish, really easy to make. Put it in, let it go for an hour, hour and a half. Like I said, mine cooked for an hour and a half. Mine would have been done for me. I like my meat, my hamburger, about medium rare. So mine would have been done in an hour, to be honest. Hour, 15 minutes. If you like the content, please like and subscribe. Thanks for coming into Andrea's Kitchen.